hired to control animals. No one's coming to help us. We have our second ward alderwoman being harassed by the police, stalked by the police.
Hey, 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 what's going on, everyone? It is off the record. We are here today. Happy Sunday, and we have a full panel and some very, very esteemed guests. But first, we're going to start off. I have my lovely co host in the building, also with a guest co host that we're going to be introducing today. So I said what I said. Foxy 2, Roxy 3, and Lizzie, welcome. How are you ladies doing today?
Hi, hey everybody. It sounds like we have two videos playing. Me, I'm kind of confused because I'm hearing double videos.
I don't think that
I,
there's.
I don't hear that. That must be on your end because I don't hear it.
And how are you doing today, Foxy 2, Roxy 3? We'll look into that real quick, but let's do a quick greeting so we can start introduce our guests and then also our co-host, our guest host.
I'm doing fine. And how is everyone?
We are great, like the Frosted Flake Tiger.
All right.
What about you, Lizzie? Y'all welcome Lizzie to the show. She is our guest host for tonight. She has been she basically reached out to me so that we can get some help for a producer. So she's been very pivotal. So we actually have a producer who is working on the show with us today. And so we're going to be doing some things on this show off the record. So y'all welcome Lizzie to the show. She is the producer's sister, and she is our very special guest host. Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys.
Hello.
All right, and then we have the two ladies from Harvey. We also may have some other residents coming in, but right now we're gonna start the show off with what the people who are in here today. So we have the Pool family, Carlita. How are you today? And we have Glennis.
I'm doing good. I'm here at my dad's home with him. My sister had to work, so it'll just be me, my dad Joe, and my niece Kayla. Say hi, Dad.
How you doing?
Hey, what's going on,
Hello,
Mr. Pool?
Dad.
Oh, everything's okay. I think going with you.
Hey, we're making it. We're trying to get your mayor out of that town because I don't think he's any good for your town. But
Yeah. Well.
Oh,
and trying to
Yeah.
get Kobe in exactly.
Okay,
yes.
doke.
All right. Well, with that being said, Glennis able to hear us?
I don't
Okay.
think she can hear us.
All right. And
I'm kind of watching by, I'm not able to hear on the phone, but I can see you on TV. Kind of watching by, I'm not able to
okay,
hear on the
okay.
phone,
We hear it in the background too.
but I can see you on
All right,
TV.
awesome. Well, at least you'll be able to answer some of these questions. You'll be able to hear the question and you'll be able to respond to it and you can still tell us your story. We really are so happy that you guys decided to take the time and grace our channel with your presence so that we can get the story from the residents because I think that there's a lot of stories being told right now, but I don't hear a lot of stories directly from the residents' point of view. And you guys should be the ones controlling the narrative. So I'm glad that you guys were able to find some time to come on to the show and talk to us about what your experience has been in Harvey. Before we get into that, though, because we got a lot to discuss, I want to speak to the chat. I see I said what I said. She's probably gonna come back in, but um, want to speak. Hey, what's good, Saint Center? How are you doing? Hope you're having a great
Hey, Saint
Sunday
Sarah.
afternoon. All right. And Skeeter was good. Skeeter.
Hi, Skeeter.
Condia. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot. We got somebody who could press it for us. I'm sorry for that. And Ramona, what's good? Nice to see you in the chat. Thank you for stopping by. El Sid, thank you for coming in. Carol Morton and Lady T Bug, thank you guys for being here. And we got Javar in the building. What's
Yeah.
good? Alice, nice to see all of you guys. So we're going to be talking about a lot of things, but like I said, it's going to be we're going to talk about it from the residents' perspective. And we're not going to be spinning any narratives today. We're just going to hear what the residents have to say. And let's start with your 4th of July. Did you guys have a great 4th of July in Harvey?
Yeah, well, it was nice, but we were part of the parade with Alderwoman Kobe Chapman, a few of us, and in the parade with her, Napoleon, the township float, and we walked behind the horses so we could probably step in the horse shit. Can I say that? Can I say shit? I don't want to get you kicked off or banned off or whatever.
Oh
So,
shit, you can't say shit on here.
oh my goodness.
Oh my God. What are we gonna do? No.
So, that was interesting to say the
That's
least.
unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you think that that was intentional?
I think so. My opinion, yes. I think it was intentional because it was Kobe Chapman, it was Senator Harris, who is a supervisor, and it was Dr. Keisha McCaskill, the commissioner. And I guess those are the three uh, people that Clark has it out for, to my understanding. So yeah, I think it's a intent. It was intentional.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, I mean, it definitely. I already know Clark is petty, so I definitely can see him doing something like that. Can
Hmm.
you tell us what? Because you are one of the families, unfortunately, who had to give up not one but both of the houses that you guys owned on this street,
Myrtle.
correct? On
Yeah,
Myrtle
on
Street.
153rd and Myrtle. So yes, we are the last Mohicans on the block of 153rd and Myrtle. My father and mother purchased the homes in 1973, so they are 53-year residents of Harvey. I myself am a 49 year resident of Harvey. My father and mother purchased two homes in the 70s after they got married. The home that I grew up in, that my father currently lives in, along with my sister and her three kids. And then the house next door that was always our rental property when I was growing up, that was given to me, me and my husband, once we got married. So um, my dad is 90 years young, or he will be 90 in August. And to say that this is going to be a life changing event, I'm sure, that he never could have dreamed of that he would be having to do with his two daughters. You don't go in life and retire from work, and your spouse is no longer here, and then you have to change. You have to leave the home that you worked so hard for. So it's very disheartening because this was kept a secret from all the residents and a few of the older people, men, since 2019. When Clark got in office in 2019, I guess the plan for this became back active after Eric Kellogg, because it was talked about, but this was never the prime location that it would have been. This wasn't the original location. I think the original location was somewhere on Dixie Highway, but don't quote me. But this wasn't it. When he came in office, I guess talks back and meetings were had, but we were kept secret of it until July 15th of 2023. Um, we were very shocked. All of the 15 residents' homes that were on here were very shocked. Didn't see this coming because Harvey does have a high population of dilapidated homes. We had over 5,437 dilapidated homes. This block is has homes where you can go east of us, and that block may have 6 homes, and then the block after that, which is Lexington, may have 2 homes that people actually live in. So it was very surprising. um, Once again, as you see in recent, we have a mayor that shows no empathy, no care at all for any of his residents. I wasn't at that July 15th meeting, but my sister and father were, and he came in late. So the people who actually told us we had to move was MWRD. So there were 5 residents who lived on this block who were homeowners, and they were all seniors. And it was said to them that, we're going to pay you for your homes, and however, you can appeal, the value or whatever we quote you for, you can appeal it. But if we don't come to some type of agreement, we will go through the process of eminent domain. And usually we always win those. So, of course,
You
nobody
said
wants
was
to fight, for their homes. It's like, what? And, it was a thing of some people were were disheartened, but it was like, okay, well, maybe this is another move we can make, because Harvey has seen the good, the bad, and we now in the ugly. And so, it was a thing of that. When Clark came in, his words were, oh, just take the money. And he had just won the election in 2023. And he said that, my dad said, he said, take the money and run. Um, but he had just won against Anthony McCaskill, and his words were, he doesn't know who liked him or who voted for him. So it was. This is our time where you're telling us we're losing our shelter, our homes, things that people have worked hard for, and you want to tell us, oh, I don't know who, make it about you, um
hmm
Alderwoman Kobe Chapman, she found out the same day we found out. It was asked of him, well, why did you wait so long to tell us, or how long did you know about this? And his thing was, they wanted to make sure that the money had came through for it,
But now they
but
said
it
that the
didn't.
money ain't even up. They said they ain't even got all the money that they need.
Yeah, from FEMA. That's what we've been told, but they say that they have it. Um, MWRD, that is, because none of this is coming from Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
And so their thing was, that, just, take it or whatever. So someone asked them, well, what is Harvey going to do for us? Because we're leaving our homes, or losing our homes. Oh, this doesn't have anything to do with Harvey. This is Mayor Clark. And I found that when my sister came back and told me that, I found that strange. Like, how are you the mayor and you don't know? You let some outside people come in. So I thought that, maybe he would come over and see, like, our block, reach out to come and talk to us, without the outside people. And he never did. I eventually reached out to Alderwoman Kobe Chapman. She was newly elected, and she and Alderman Keys, Tracy Keys, came over, and they came over and talked to everyone, because, like I said, she had just found out the day we found out. And so their excuse to her was, well, you were newly elected. So, that was that. So one thing that, we, from the day that I spoke to her, it was like boots on the ground. Okay, well, we went to the MWRD meeting. And from there, they were really shocked that we didn't know before the date that they had told us. There's an article, it was put out June 5th by the Harvey World Herald, where they talked about how, because of this experience that we had over here, that they're going to change how they do community um, input, when it comes to acquisition of homes.
Mm-hmm.
So they left it up to the mayor, who failed us as a mayor. You didn't come and tell us, what was going to happen to us. People wouldn't have did things, repairs for their homes and things like that, if they knew that they were going to
Right.
lose them.
Right.
And it's just unfortunate, that this has happened to us. um no one can tell you how it feels. This is a feeling that you do not want to be in, especially when you have a 90-year-old father, or your parent has worked hard. You have seen them work hard for
I
43 years,
I could only imagine. I couldn't even imagine what your
mhm,
father is having to experience right now. Building the generational wealth that
yes,
most Black people, you know, aspire to one house. You know what I'm
hmm,
saying? And it's all on the same street. So, my heart goes out to you guys, and it's unfortunate that there's nothing that anybody can do, but there were other options.
yeah. And when we went down to the MWRD meeting, we asked, well, are there alternative options? Not saying that we don't want the retention pond. Okay, if you need it for people who are flooding, because we don't flood. We have never had a flood. Um, but we're losing our homes because someone else may
Had a
flood,
flood,
which
right?
is
Exactly,
unfortunate. That
absurd,
doesn't even make sense.
right?
It's a lot of things that Harvey could be doing to stop it. There are other options that could have been done. First, you got to clean the street. If you don't clean, well, of course the drains will clog up. If there are old trees in someone's yard, of course the roots are going to get entangled into the sewer lines or whatever.
Right. Right. You
It's
got to
all about,
maintain the sewer system.
right. So during this time, me and my sister were like, well, this is our dad, and I can't speak for nobody else, but this is our dad. And, my mother passed in 2022. So, we were like, well, do you want to leave? And his thing was like, no, he didn't want to leave. And we didn't want to leave neither, because he's up in age, he's a very strong, able-bodied man. He still drives, y'all, but like he driving a
Really?
57 Buick, but he still drives. He still gets out there and cuts the grass, and stuff like
All
that.
right, Dad.
Yeah. They say he doesn't look like he's going on 90. He looked
We
like he's
saw
going.
him on the news. I mean, I would have never guessed that he was 90 years old. But
Yes. So, it's just a thing that, it's disheartening that we didn't have a leader who was, sympathetic and, tried to act like he cared. It was like, okay, we need your houses. They gonna pay you for it, and, just move. To the point that we fought, and we got a meeting with Robin Kelly's chief of staff, and she wrote a letter to Clark to try to save. At the time, it was our homes and Miss Dorothy's home. And he met with us. He was forced to, because of the letter that she had wrote, that he needed to meet with us. And during that meeting, we had to show IDs to make sure we didn't have no felonies. But we losing
what
our
is
homes.
right? What is it? They have. Oh my. Why? What is that sense does that make? Who cares if you have a felony? Does that give you less rights to your home or something?
Well, it was probably, I don't know, it's, I took it as like, okay, well, you stereotyping us? What you think? Black people got, I mean, all the black people got felonies? I don't know, but we hardworking people. So we didn't have that to worry about. And then it was when we got into the office. after they whatever they did with our IDs to make sure we ain't had no felonies. There was a toy violin on his desk, and I looked at it. I'm like, is that a violin?
See how
And
petty he is? That's the reason
yeah,
why.
see how petty. But he cares about Harvey. He's doing so much for Harvey. But this is what we're coming up against when we're coming to meet with you to try to see how can we save our homes. And it read the world's smallest violin.
The world's smallest violin.
Uh huh.
I mean,
And
honestly, just to be very frank, that is disgusting work for a mayor to do that to their constituents. I'm just
yeah, so
putting
that
that
let
out.
us know that he really didn't care. It was like we're coming in here, not for open conversation. It was just like, I don't care what you say. I just have to do this because the congresswoman did this email, which I shared with you, and that's it. Is after y'all done, I'ma still be whatever.
Right.
I'ma still it's still gonna be what it is. It's
Still be
disheartening.
business as usual.
Like I said, you can't imagine how we feel, um, or what's going on, and we're at the point now.
So now, since you've given up your house through eminent domain,
Hmm.
which means you were forced, since now that's happened and you're moving, how has this process getting into a new home been for you?
Well, the eminent domain process is long. So what they are, because we were forced to get a lawyer, an eminent domain lawyer, and one of the things that I ask him was, can you build this retention pond around our home? And they said no. And I asked the lawyer, well, can you get that in writing? The reason why I want it in writing is that in the event that we do move, well, or when we do move, if a condo comes up or anything else, then we're gonna have legal action. Because I have that email that says why we can't stay. Had there been more input, it could have been a thing of, can you don't want the houses, you want the land, right? So why can't you pick up the house and put it somewhere else? That still gives Harvey tax base, because you can move houses, and things like that. But because it was so late in the planning stage that we had no clue of, that wasn't an option. you know um right now we are in the process of because it did go through eminent domain. The courts had to send it to the Cook County treasurer. It had to go to the clerk, then the Cook County treasurer. The day that I was supposed to close on my replacement house, the money wasn't there, so I had to cancel that. The replacement home that my sister and father are going into, they couldn't close. So right now, um, we're just the check came in last week, and so because we have to wait for that to clear before we're able to do a closing um, on the homes. So.
So really, to tell you the truth, this process, I mean, if have they approved the waiting till the check clears, or is, I mean,
Oh, you're talking about the sellers that we're going into?
yeah,
Yes, but it's only for probably like 2 weeks.
okay.
So, our move out date is supposed to be the 19th. Well, that's not going to happen. And I'm worried, but my dad is like, he's not worried about nothing because they not just going to kick me out of my house.
Yeah, they can't
Um,
kick you out of your house.
yeah. Well,
They,
we have
I mean,
Satan's son.
I was about to say, well, he
Oh,
will
let me tell
be
you about
trying to
that.
do a lot of stuff.
So my dad is on time with all his bills. When it comes to bills, he does not play around. So his water bill, the water bill for here, I pay the water bill for my house next door. He's on time. Has never been late. He pays before the 15th because his thing is, I don't want to give them no extra money. So that late fee, I'm not giving them that late fee because I'm gonna pay it
Absolutely,
on time. So
absolutely.
So our water bills from January went from 60 to 160. My father last week got a bill for $600 for the water bill.
Wow. Wait.
We
From one. Wait. Say the beginning number. Will you say 150?
It went from 60, like 69 in January. He has all his receipts. $69 to 160. The $69 one was an actual bill. That was January's.
Okay.
February's, March, April, May's. Those were estimates and they were 160 something. And
Wow.
then he just got a bill for July Thursday and it's $600.
That's crazy. How can they do that? How is it? How is the water company able to do that? Is this an estimated bill?
No, this one is an actual bill. The water from what I mean he
Is there a
controls
leak?
the no, we could because when they came June 10th, um there is no leaks. They came and they checked. My dad was with them and my niece because I made her go down there too. His water meter is in the basement, he said, and there's no leaks. And then
Yeah,
they recently just came right last week sometime or the week before that and they had to come and do another reading, they said.
I've had a high water bill where they had to come out and reread it, and it went down like half. So, are they able to? Are they going to adjust it, or I mean, do you have to pay it, or
He
what
my
is
dad
the?
said he gonna go and try to see what it's all about, but I don't know if this is since y'all didn't do what you supposed to do. It's like it's a tick for attack. You understand? It's like
Right,
because
right.
he's so vindictive. This is his vindictiveness. You know,
Just like him having Colby Chapman and Napoleon
Napoleon
and
Harris
and
and
Keisha,
Dr. Keisha.
yeah,
Hmm.
Dr. McCaskill,
Hmm.
walking in the back of the parade behind the horses.
Yep.
So, yeah, and the small toy violin. He just has a history of being very
Hmm.
vindictive and petty. So, I
Yeah.
can definitely see this being
And the
something.
thing is, I want to put this out here too. I have no personal, I don't even know him besides that he's the mayor, right? So prior to you trying to take our homes for something, a project that can go anywhere in the city, I have nothing personal against you. I mean, you're taking our homes. I don't think that there is no one on this earth that wouldn't have some type of like feeling about a person that has the way he's been that wouldn't feel some type of way. But as far as like we hating him and things like that, I don't like his behavior is what I'm gonna say. I don't hate him. I just don't like his I have a very strong dislike for his behavior and how he operates as a mayor. And Harvey deserves better than that. That's why, I'm gonna be out there encouraging everybody to vote Colby Chapman 2027 because she is a leader. She is about the community. Oh, and another thing, the parade, the park district and the library board, that's a taxing body that is part of the community. They weren't allowed to be in it. He picks and chooses if he likes you or not to be in a parade, and it's more of a dictatorship, more of a person that is
Yeah,
if
I get
he
what you're saying. If you're not aligned with him,
hmm
if you're not on his side, or if show that you are going against him, he'll do things. He basically has a say, and he'll basically make the parade. It's basically about him and who he likes.
yes.
It's a display of who he likes, and the way you know how much he likes you is how far up in the parade you are at.
Yes, I guess so.
And if you don't make it at all, then you guys can guess what that means.
Yeah, I guess
But
if you don't make the cut, that means you're not liked at all.
so we have a few more residents that are um that are here from Harvey. Um, of course, everybody knows Ryan. And then we have Professor and Pastor. So, hey, Ryan, what's going on?
Hi, Ryan.
Hey everybody. Hey,
Hi, Ryan.
hey, thanks for caring about Harvey again.
No
Appreciate
problem.
appreciate
No
the
problem.
attention.
We gotta stay
And
on his
Minion,
neck. We gotta stay on his neck.
and Minion,
Oh,
when you finish, Minion, we need to address our
Shout out.
chat.
Shout out. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Shout out
Sorry,
to
real quick,
shout out to everybody in the chat. It's a lot of you guys here, so shout out to everybody that's in the I Said What I Said channel. That's on the OTR channel, Minion with an Opinion, and to Foxy 2, Roxy 3 channel. Thank you, everybody, for participating and supporting the channels. We do appreciate each and every last one of you guys for being here tonight. As you guys can tell, we have a lot of guests that want to speak tonight. So sit back, enjoy, and let's listen to what's going on with Harvey.
All right. Well, like I said, we do have Professor in the building, and you're. Oh wait, never mind. Never mind. I think they're gonna come back in. But Ryan, did I know that you had a interesting experience at the parade as well? So we know, but yours didn't really have anything to do with Clark. But what would you say about as far as Clark, some things that you want to kind of add to this
well,
situation
no,
with the retention?
actually, that was directly related to Clark, because Mayor Clark decided to hire, or I don't know what their arrangement is, but something with Jedediah Brown. So I and my neighbor Melissa were out. I already planned a little No Kings protest. Like I had a sign, she had a sign.
Not
But
the No
otherwise, we were just out.
Kings. I
No
like
Kings,
that.
right? A lot of people were doing because it's against Trump and everything too that people were doing on the 4th. But it was like, oh, perfect. We have our own little dictator Trump right here in Harvey. His name's Chris Clark. So it was perfect. I borrowed Carlita's tent, set up my front yard, had some cute signs, some chairs, and then we went to actually stand right by the street corner. So, I mean, I did enjoy it for a little bit. I got a little bit of the parade on film, but like barely any. And then, unfortunately, yeah, there was an altercation because Jed apparently, I guess the mayor, gave him permission to just kind of wander around the parade, because he'd never let most people do that. He'd send the police after you if you tried. And then, he and Melissa were talking, and then he decided to come after me and follow me to my house, and it was a whole thing. But yeah, unfortunately, Jedediah Brown would not be here harassing me and others if it weren't for Mayor Clark. So, yes, it does
I agree
unfortunately
with that.
relate to him. And the theme, Minion, that I want people to realize is that all these bullies, you notice they do not fight their own battles. So, Clark, instead of trying to come and talk to me or Carlita or any of the other residents when when he's fighting with us about whatever it might be, he will always try to spread rumors or discredit us and or use intermediaries. So in this case, his latest is he's sending Jedediah
Jedediah.
to
Yeah,
cause.
but I think that what we're gonna do for Jed, just to show him how much he matters in this, is just really because I had to give him a piece of my mind too, and I'm glad that you did your live last night and you defended yourself because I do feel like he was bullying you, but now I feel like uh to show him how much we really care about Jed, he's probably just not going to be a topic of conversation unless he does exactly what he always does, which is inserts himself into the situation. So,
Right.
but the topic is Harvey, Illinois, and I want to make sure that everybody
Right.
stays focused on the fact that Clark is the piece of shit that is in office right now that needs to be unasked. The seat needs to be unasked and given to Colby
Right.
Chapman. At the end of the day, people can say whatever they want out of their mouths, but when you go to Kobe Chapman's Facebook page, you see the work that she puts in and day out. When you see her interact with the youth, you see you see people who genuinely, look up to her, and she's really giving back to the community. I don't see that with Clark, you know. So you have to go by the evidence that people are showing you, not the words that are coming out of people's mouths. And that person is a chaos agent who likes to keep up a lot of distractions. Just like, I mean, a lot of this, I would say, is very Trump-esque, but he's still
Right,
he's
exactly.
he's still a non-factor. At the end of the day, he
Well,
doesn't have any power over
also,
whether or not Kobe is going to get in office and whether or not Clark is going to stay. And I think that he gives himself a little bit more power than he really has, because on this show we're talking about Harvey, and we're going to keep it on that, and we'll see how much power he really has. If he doesn't have anybody to go against and to talk about, let's see what he's doing.
well, and the real question, Minion, related to that, which is very Trump-like, again, is why all these elaborate distractions and lies, and um, you notice everything is designed to avoid accountability. So why is he hiding the simple accounting of where our tax money is going? It's very simple. We just want to see
Exactly.
where all the money's going. He
He's
will
hiding
do
it from
anything
everybody.
but
He's
that.
literally hiding it from everybody, even
Right.
the commissioner or the comptroller. I mean, that's the
Treasurer.
reason why the treasure. That's the reason
Right.
why the your grant money is being garnished, because he
Right, and
can't.
that's been going on when 22 and 23. So, we haven't even got the results from 24 and 25. That's just from 22 and 23 with him being in office. So that's just let you know that he ain't paying his bill. And if he didn't pay his taxes on his own place, what make you think he's gonna pay the taxes on the city? I mean, let's just give you a food for thought.
He lost his
Right.
business due to.
And what I always say, what are you hiding, Mayor Clark? What are you hiding that you have to say that I abuse children, that you have to arrest us, that you have to go after Chappelle because she pays her taxes a little late. Who cares? She pays her taxes. Like, all these distractions, we want to know, what are you doing? You're the mayor. I'm
But
not
what
the
he
mayor.
is doing
What
is,
are you doing? That's
let's
what we
talk
want to know.
about what he's doing, because we have a family who he's displacing for
Right.
a retention pond that,
Mhm.
by all accounts, probably will never ever manifest in real life, or to the extent in which they're describing.
Right.
So
Hmm.
that's what he's doing. What he's doing, we have the same resident that's getting a $600 water bill. All of
Right.
you, how many of you guys as residents have received any $500 tickets or
Oh,
unnecessary tickets?
yeah, I get
And you
tickets all the time.
and you're getting all these tickets, $500 tickets, and then you sit back and say they're not paying their taxes. How are they going to pay the taxes if you keep taking the money from them to pay their taxes? Then you're going to put them
Right.
in a bind because they don't have the money to pay the taxes because you keep taking them for frivolous, tickets for $500, 200 to $500. A missing
Mhm.
headlight, $200.
Right.
Things like that. Or the grass is not high enough, $200 to $500. You going to the maximum amount to try to get these people to pay all this money, but then you want to sit back and fuss at them saying, well, the reason why you don't have the businesses or the stuff in your city because we're broke. Where you trying to take it out of the people.
Mm.
Well, what are you doing with the money that you're getting from the state that the comptroller of Illinois is giving you out of the grant?
Right. Yep.
Well, that's
So,
and that's the whole goal too, Fox. The goal is to grift the people, talk crap to them, like homegirl did in Dalton, and really just to take their money and not do the right thing that you're supposed to do, and like you said, blame them for what's lacking and what he's not doing with his job. So
Right. He's
his
never
answer.
accountable. He's never accountable. You'll notice that.
exactly.
Go and watch the videos with Mayor Clark. He will never. It doesn't matter what he's asked or who
But
asked
this is
him.
scripting.
He's never
This
accountable.
is
Okay, go ahead, Lizzie.
Hello.
this is scripting on such a much larger scale, though.
Right. He is grifting on a larger scale. He's doing it where he's making the people feel like, oh, you don't have a grocery store, you don't have a pharmacy, the
It's
buildings
y'all
are
fault.
boarded up. It's your all fault. But yet you getting
Right.
grant
Blaming
money
us
from the
for it.
state. But yeah, you getting grant money. What are you doing with the grant money that nobody sees being done? None of that
Right.
grant money is going towards the streets. None of that grant money is bringing businesses to the city. None of that grant money is helping people with their water bill or their taxes. None of that is happening with them. But yet you want to sit back and blame the city, the residents of the city, and say that it's their fault why you don't have these things. And that's not right. You the mayor. Then you sit back and say, well, the treasurer was elected and I don't have no control over it. What mayor of a city don't know where this money's going? Please give me that don't make any sense. Make that make sense. So you sit back and just test the lion all the damn
Hmm.
time to throw everybody off to make it seem like you're such a
Right.
great mayor and you haven't done shit in the last oh sorry haven't done
Woo.
anything in the last 6 years of your term. So, come on, man.
And then they got to act like kids at the damn city council meetings. They can't talk. They can't complain. They
Right.
can't say anything. They can't
Stand in the single
object.
file
Yeah,
line.
Oh,
they
You
can't
know,
object.
it's
You got
that
more
type of
cops
shit.
at the city council meeting than you do on the streets.
While your crime is running rampant.
Right.
hmm
So
Well,
oh,
that
Well,
came
no, wait a
it's
minute.
about
like
Let's
the
not
go
other.
ahead,
forget.
y'all, Carlita.
that
Go.
came
Yeah.
about because I think it was last July. You know, he's a big baby, and so people
Right.
were, during the public comment, you clap for applaud if you agree to the thing, if you agree to what the speaker is saying. So as a big baby, it was a thing. That's when that went into effect of, oh well, you no more, no more clapping, or you couldn't talk, you couldn't say anything, you just had to be mute, or you would get a $500 fine. That's why Glennis got a fine for $500. She spoke
Hmm.
underneath her breath. I was sitting two seats away from her, and I couldn't hear what she said. But the police officer on the other opposite side of the wall came, and she got a $500 ticket. So,
So
um,
Harvey don't have freedom of speech in his eyesight, right?
That part.
No.
no.
And then
Mm.
and let's be clear, when we talk about the businesses not paying taxes and the fact that he put up a whole entire video on the official Harvey page about businesses paying not paying taxes, he neglected to say that they do have to pay a operating fee, whether it be a 20,000 lump sum, a 24,000 in two payments, or 30,000 over a 12-month period, and none of that money is going to these people's taxes. So none of this money Harvey is benefiting from that he's getting, or I mean, unless you
And this
guys
is
know otherwise.
outrageous.
No, that's correct.
This is
So it doesn't go
outrageous.
to so it doesn't matter if I own the building and you are the tenant that has the business and I owe the taxes, not you cuz you're just a tenant. Um in order for you to operate, you have to pay whatever the fee is. It doesn't go toward taxes. We don't actually know where it goes to. Um you know, so yeah. I sent you that
But if a
paper.
business
Uh-huh.
but if a business couldn't afford to pay their taxes, how would they be able to pay this ridiculous fine?
They
This is
can't.
That part.
outrageous, and it doesn't even
They
go to
can't.
their taxes.
Right. That's the problem. Exactly.
Or
And
it
we've
don't
said
go
that
to.
many times, but he just doesn't listen. He just says, "You're out of order."
And then he
Oh,
arrests you guys at the meetings.
Hmm.
Insane.
Right, and charge him $500 every time he arrests them. Even if it's just, take you out, arrest you, then let you go, they still charge you $500.
I think somebody need to contact the attorney
Absolutely
general
insane.
about this because he
they've
all
contacted the
Mhm.
attorney general.
way out of control. But how can you find somebody for talking at a city council meeting and you're gonna find them? That is ludicrous.
Because he's saying it's disturbing the peace. So because they got it as disturbing the peace, they're using that to their benefit to charge people for that fine. So he found out that's a loophole to make money off of them, so he's doing it that way.
Hey, Melissa, we got Melissa who was the resident of Harvey who was arrested from her house and allegedly drugged because unfortunately we don't have no proof, but she says that she was actually drugged, but she definitely was arrested. um and she feels like this was retaliatory against her for speaking out about the water issue. So one day we're gonna have her on the show, but thank you for being in the chat with us, Melissa.
Melissa.
I think
But see, there's a lot of things that is going on with the money that they keep asking. And if anybody think about it, that's the same thing that was going on in Dalton. The residents was asking where the money, we need proof of the money, where's the money, where's the money? And now the Harvey is doing the same thing where he's been doing it. It's just the problem is because of Tiffany being so vocal and so,
loud,
out there,
right? Mm-hmm.
like that is shadowed him where he can just do what he want to do in the shadows and nobody would know it. Now that she's calmed down and we gonna got the new mayor in Dalton and the supervisor in Thornton Township and everything kind of died down. Everybody's going on with their lives and enjoying it. Now he's in the limelight, so now he got to bring some other stuff to shadow what's going on with him again. So that's when we brought in, I care not to say name, but whatever came
Yeah,
in,
yeah, right.
whatever came
Mhm.
in and started,
Yeah.
making a ruckus to throw everybody off again. So everybody is looking at the ruckus and not paying attention to
Mhm.
what he's doing again.
We see it for
So here
what it
we
is now, and we ain't gonna allow ourselves to be distracted. We keeping our foot on that
Mhm.
neck. It don't matter who you bring. You could bring whoever you want. We still gonna be talking about you, sir.
and you can bring Trump in
Christopher
here.
Clarence, whatever your other names you got, Clark. You are the
Really?
target.
Y-
No one else.
Yes, Clocky boy.
But
That's crazy.
Yes, this is how these people have been treated
I
in
want to
this
say
city.
right, and I want to say I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but I did want to say before I get forget that I 100% believe Melissa as well. You know, I believe her. I think that Christopher Clark, something about him just kind of gives me like a evil, dark, like Gotham City mayor that will do all
Spirit.
types of crazy, shady things to people and expect that he's going to get away with it. I don't know why he gives me that, but I'm sorry, that's just what he gives me.
I want to add to that.
Yeah,
But if you
I
compare
can-
him to Tiffany, you'll see that like Clark is at such a much larger scale than Tiffany. If you look at also like just the government funding part, and then also look at as well as how he treats the residents, the fines he puts under the residents, and the businesses as well. This is much larger than Tiffany.
Absolutely.
well,
He's
you got to
way worse
remember.
than Tiffany.
But you got to remember now, Tiffany was doing that too. He was grooming her.
Mm.
Because remember, if you look back at when they was no longer up there by her, but they was down on the floor, she started trying to give the tickets out too, and they came and the trustees and the lawyers fought against that with the board, the police board, and they told her she had to stop. Then she was trying to also silence the people in Dalton to try to make them pay a fine and arrest them for talking out in the meetings, and that fell through too because of the trustees. The difference between them and her, well, Clark and her, See, she had four trustees that was against her that fought against everything she tried to do. You got four trustees
Hi,
in
I'm here.
Harvey.
Chappelle's here.
Hey,
Ah!
Chappelle.
Hallelujah.
Woo! Yeah, I'm
Praise the Lord.
sorry. We
She finally made
super
it.
excited because we have been trying to get her on the show for so long.
I know,
Thank
right?
you.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We gotta give you the balloons. We gotta give you the balloons. Birthday weekend. So y'all tell Chappelle happy birthday.
Well,
Yes.
happy
Happy
birthday,
belated
ma'am.
birthday.
Look. Okay, so what's going on, Chappelle?
You're a Cancer.
Who is that? Who else on there?
We
Oh,
got
it's the whole
Ryan. We
crew,
got
baby.
our guest host Lizzie. We have
Okay.
Carlita.
Professor.
Well,
We have
She's
Professor.
with me, Grant. I mean, she's
yeah.
with me, Minion.
Yeah.
Oh look.
So I'm over here.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm talking about.
The family's
Professor.
all here.
Y'all, let's say hey to Professor. We gotta give Professor some balloons for being so patient because he been in here a long time and we haven't
Right.
even spoke to him.
Hey,
So
Professor.
Hi, Professor.
How's everybody doing?
All
we're
right.
So what's the
That's
time?
good.
So
That's
what we
good.
talking about?
all right. So we've been talking about a lot of different things. We started off with the retention pond and him, of course, making these families move
Mm-hmm.
from building generational wealth to having to look for two new homes.
Correct.
Hmm.
We talked about, of course, the fact that he had Kobe Chapman and Napoleon and Keisha McCaskill in the back of the parade, to
Yeah,
be
behind the
vindictive.
horses. Yeah.
Right, to
Mm-hmm.
be vindictive. I mean, we've touched on a lot of different things. We talked about the fact that, you know, he has he has a lot of people paying these businesses paying these monthly fees that we don't know where they're going.
Correct.
Um, what
$2,500 a month,
Yeah, that just who knows who's what it goes to.
and it's due on the first. And if they don't make it on the first, they have to pay $5,000.
I know you lying.
No, I'm not.
Mm,
Mm-mm. Yeah.
wow.
Oh, wow. Now, that.
Now, how is that legal?
Oh my God.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Yeah. So they
and if
have to
they can't
pay.
afford to
They
pay
have
it
to
on
pay
the
the twenty
first,
five hundred, and then they have to pay another 2,500,
So he just making up shit,
Yep.
making it all up as he
hmm
Pull,
go.
pulling it out his butt, and that ain't really what I want to say. But I'm gonna try
but
to
if
be
they
nice
couldn't
because it
Yep.
afford
is
that,
Sunday. But yeah, he pulling this out his butt at this point.
Well, you got
This
to look at it. He getting the grant from the comptroller, and they already,
hmm
in debt to pay all the back taxes. So he got to make up the money otherwise, because he can't apply for no more grants because he's in debt and delinquent in the taxes. So he can't apply for no grants, no other grants from the state to help the city out. So he's trying to take it out of the businesses and the people's pocket. And so that's his only way of doing it. And he's still delinquent on paying the taxes because the comptroller is still saying we're going to garnish the grants money, and they're going to keep going up until they eventually stop giving them the grant money altogether, which makes the city be in debt like they did with Dalton. Because it's like, okay, you're not listening. Okay, we're going up a little more. The more he's late, the more they're going to go up on the garnishment, to the point that they're going to take it all together where he gets no grant money whatsoever. And that means that the city is going to be in debt, just like they did with Dalton. So,
But we
that's a
already in
problem
debt.
right there.
Let him tell it. We $169 million in debt.
and he
So
ain't
he's
put
And
no
saying,
dent
really,
in that in the 6 years that he's been in office.
and
not
that's
one
been the
dent.
number that he been
yeah,
saying since 2019.
Right.
And I just don't know how that
that's the
is
number.
when they buying big flat screen TVs, and he
Got the
got security detail. He got
The push
The
things for the tablets for
the
them to vote
tablets, they
on.
got the whole new system to, instead of them saying yay or nay, they got to do it,
Tablet.
on the tablets. And
He
you know
operates like somebody that ain't used to nothing because you
that's
can't pay
it.
your bills, but you want all the nice stuff. You know,
Exactly. And then
And
he
then
also got
Mhm.
like a 200-inch like flat screen project, like it's a TV, and it's like got hydraulic lift on it. It go up and down.
damn. I mean,
He got
For the
one of
shit.
them. Now
township?
that's something I've never seen, and he got that though. He got that in the chambers. That he pull it out when he do his little presentation,
On the
instead of
chambers.
him using the old school, projector and just pulling it down. No, he got that whole thing.
So
that
Harvey
is
has nice
crazy.
things.
Right. Yeah, Harvey got nice things up in
Oh
his
wow.
in
But them
City Hall, but it
streets,
sure ain't on the streets.
okay, right,
But
Professor.
see, that's the problem. That's where all his money is go. That's where all the tax people money, all the people
No,
that paying them five
that it
hundred
ain't
dollar
all
fines
of
and
it,
stuff.
cause some of it is going somewhere in an account he got somewhere. I bet.
Well, you got if you got a comptroller that's in on your board, and that comptroller can't pay, keep up with the numbers, where to a point that the comptrollers of Illinois is rejecting it. That means the money is going somewhere, and you're using a credit card. What's his name,
Uh,
Mister
yeah,
uh,
Mr. Williams.
Lewis Williams? And
Yep.
no, you using your credit card so they won't see what you spending the money on. That's the problem. And that, like you said, if they get you pass out so many credit cards to certain people, you get a kickback or money back from all that. So he can give credit cards to everybody on that board
No,
and
no,
sit back
no.
and
He
collect
didn't
money.
give Lewis Williams a credit card. That's Lewis Williams' personal credit card.
But I'm saying Lewis Williams can refer people like you or anybody else that's on that board to get a credit card under him. They say how many
Like an
people you want
authorized
on your
user.
credit
No, no,
authorized
no.
user.
What? No. Listen to what I'm saying. It's not the city's card.
Right, it's his personal card.
It's his personal card.
And so what he can do is add additional authorized users on that personal card, and every time
Oh,
somebody uses that extra card, he's gonna get
The
the
points and
points
all of
and
that
the
stuff.
cash
Yeah.
back and all
right.
that. Right,
Mhm.
Right. So he's
So
using
that's
his
why
personal card.
right,
right,
which is crazy.
and if we put people on there that's on the board or the mayor who
Is that commingling?
I said that
yeah,
sounds
that's
like
oh honey,
co-mingling
Rico get
funds.
ready to come down on
It
him
sounds
hard.
like it's fraud. It don't sound like
Rico
it's
get ready.
co-mingling because how can you use your own personal credit card?
But how could you use your own personal credit card for
Exactly.
government business? Like
Business, that's
Exact.
right.
it's
So
That's
that's
it.
government expense.
The same
Mhm.
way Clark paid that money for that lady's house to be torn down next to that lady.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Mm.
They should not be doing
Definitely sounds like racketeering.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean
And say
personal interest. You can't use personal interest in government at all.
right.
that's
Period.
right.
Cause
and that's
And
That's
any
and
right.
what he
and
job.
gonna
that's
do? Put a
just.
lien on the property?
But that's
I mean,
any
and
job
that
though.
can
Yeah,
very well happen.
Exactly.
If you had a corporate job, you could not use your corporate credit card to put gas and buy food for your home. So why wouldn't that go?
yeah,
Why wouldn't
The
that be the
government,
same for
right?
the city? That's even
And
It is.
even more. You can't
because
do that.
and the thing is this, right? So because he has the board, they're gonna vote his way. So if he create a resolution or ordinance or whatever to pay him back or to pay Lewis Williams back, and because he's not showing the finances and we don't have a treasurer's report, say if Lewis Williams go buy something for $5, he can easily add zeros to it, and the taxpayers will have to pay him back.
Reimburse them.
Yep.
yeah.
Wow.
That's what I was saying. That's
That's
where
highly
y'all. That's where
unethical.
yeah. That's why he's using everybody. That's
No,
where the
that's a
money going.
recipe for corruption. That's what that is.
All right.
Uh-huh.
I
And
think
They
he
some of
trying
all
to
I
make
they
think
the
some of
churches
them
already done
have
people.
baked they
license.
baked the dish already. They did it.
Well, some of them
Mm-hmm.
people with them alphabets behind their name need to come look off into this because this is definitely corruption 101, in my opinion.
Thing.
But it seems like Illinois,
Y'all
they
want
just
to
like the
address some of
college.
the chat comments and see what they're saying in the chat? Um,
Oh, I just went through all the comments and put them on
did you
the.
have anybody that you wanted to maybe speak on their comments, or if you
Yeah.
guys have any questions, y'all can put them in the comments, and we'll ask our guests if they can answer. But Professor, we haven't heard anything from you, so I want to know what you have to add to your experience from Harvey and Christopher Clark.
Let me know if it's gonna die.
Well, basically, I got on the podcast tonight because I just wanted to talk about some of the ways in which black are being displaced out of Harvey. Um, I'm not really here to bash Chris Clark or anyone. I really want to just educate the community about what is going on because I do believe that a re-education needs to take place. A lot of people, if you say gentrification to someone, a lot of people do not understand what gentrification is. All right. So let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
The main purpose of gentrification is it's to transform or change the culture and the climate of the city or the community. All right. And so, in order to change the culture of the climate, they have to displace or move what they would call the bad soil up out of there. Okay. And so, what you are seeing going on, not only here in Harvey, but a lot of the other surrounding suburbs is, and in Chicago. Excuse me if you all hear my son. He's playing with the cat. Sit
Oh, it's
down.
fine.
Sit down. It's your bedtime. Um, Back to what I was saying. But even in Chicago, what is going on is there was an agenda that was put in place, and the agenda is gentrification. It is the pushing out of black and brown people. An alderwoman on Harvey City Council slipped up one day and said that the goal is to make Harvey white and Hispanic. And if you pay attention, look at what's going on in Chicago. City government, etc., was able to come up with all of this funding for immigrants, but you couldn't come up with funding for people who were naturally born citizens of the United States. You couldn't come up with funding for the homeless that are out on the streets. So if you really sit and pay attention, the agenda is happening right in front of our eyes. Okay, so let's talk about gentrification even further. To displace black and brown people out of their communities, you got to make things hard for them, right? So let's use Harvey, for example. Right now, since 2019, when Chris Clark first was elected mayor of Harvey, the city council has raised the property taxes in the city of Harvey to the highest that they can raise them without the residents' consent. That is
2.3.
4.99%. So that means 2019, 4.99%, 2020, 4.99%, 2021, 4.99%, 2022, 4.99%, and moving on up to now, 4.99% each year. Okay? If you look at Harvey, we are not Orland Park. We are not Northbrook, Illinois. We are not Willowbrook. We are not Downers Grove. Let's take it even closer. We are not Homewood or Flossmoor. There is no way, with all of the dilapidated homes, abandoned homes, and just the way Harvey looks, that we should have our property taxes raised. But this is one of the ways that gentrification works. They have to find a way to legally force you out.
Plus, yeah.
So if your property taxes keep going up year after year after year, and it gets to a point where you cannot pay them, then some people have to abandon their homes and leave. Okay, that's one way. Here's another thing that happens: property taxes go up, rental prices go up. To rent property, they're raising the prices on rental prices. Okay, so now it's making it harder for you to even rent a home or find an apartment to rent. Take, for instance, the new apartments that they have just built downtown Harvey. There are people that we personally know, some of us that are even on this line right now, this podcast right now, know of that tried to get apartments there or were approved for apartments and then later denied because of the high prices. Okay? Another thing, let's talk about crime. Another tenet of gentrification is to allow crime to rise. Because when the crime rate rises and people do not feel safe, that is another thing that can drive people to leave their homes. All right? We have had, oh my God, I lost track. I'm gonna be honest with you. I lost track at 42 as far as the number of murders that we have had since Chris Clark has become mayor of Harvey. I lost track
Wow.
at 42. All right? So, so we done had 42, and look, most of them unsolved. We have had bodies found in abandoned homes and have sent videos to different newscasters and so forth. No coverage was done on it. And see, this is what you have to understand is that Clark is just a pawn.
Right.
He's just a pawn. He's just a puppet in the game. There are people that have way more power than him that are the puppet masters pulling the strings, that are allowing him to get the news coverage that he gets. We know one of those people that was helping him do that when he was an alderman of the third ward, which I live in, was Frank Zuccarelli. And Frank Zuccarelli had, the late Frank Zuccarelli, the Thornton Township supervisor, he had many connections and ties. All right? So when Chris Clark was an alderman, he was constantly going on the news and talking about Kellogg and saying all of these things about Kellogg and how bad Harvey looked. And I will be honest with you. I used to feel the same way. I was like, yeah, Kellogg ain't S-H-I-T. I'm gonna be respectful because we online. Kellogg ain't S-H-I-T. But then once I got involved in politics, once I started doing FOIA requests, once I started doing my own personal research and getting involved, I started to see the game and see what was really going on. See, what people fail to realize is that the monies that come in, like levies and so forth, that come in to fix streets, lights, and so forth in cities, those monies are dispersed first to the Thornton Township supervisor. And the supervisor is the one that has to disperse those monies to the different communities or cities. So let's talk about an incident that happened. And I'm gonna bring this all right back to gentrification because I'm continuing with gentrification, but I gotta break things down so that people can see. Like I said, an education needs to take place. So back when Clark was an alderman of the third ward, him, Shirley Jawinski, who is still the current alderwoman of the first ward, Joseph Whittington, who was the former second ward alderman, Clark third, and Lamont Brown, who should not have even been an alderman because he was a felon. He was alderman of the fourth ward. The four of them went to Shirley Jawinski's house that is in Harvey and had a meeting with the late township supervisor, Frank Zuccarelli, via the speakerphone, where they made a plan to incapacitate the city of Harvey. Now, we have factual evidence of this on Keith Price, who was an alderman at the time when the tape was played inside of the city council meeting, they recorded it. So we have proof of it. Okay, it's no denying this. And Frank Zuccarelli said, we are going to incapacitate the city. See, what we have to realize is that Harvey, for the longest, back in the day, Harvey was the city. It was the SHIT. It was the hub. It's connected to other cities. You have to drive through Harvey to get to other cities. We got two metro stations. Trains come through there. So a lot of people, investors and so forth, have been wanting Harvey for a long time. And so with this agenda to make Harvey white and Hispanic and push the black people out, they want to allow these investors to be able to come in and get the properties and the land for pennies on a dollar. Okay? So, getting back to gentrification, you want to incapacitate the city. So one of the ways that we can do that is let's shut down the businesses that we do have. Harvey doesn't have a lot of businesses, but the businesses that we do have, let's shut them down. So that's when they started shutting down all of the clubs and the strip clubs and so forth. At the end of the day, Club O, for example, Club O was off of Halsted way in the back. It wasn't even near a neighborhood. It wasn't bothering nobody. So these are some of the intentional things that he's doing right now. We got other companies right now in Harvey, and Chappelle and them was talking about that earlier, where if the property owner is behind in their taxes, they're now trying to make the tenants who have a business there and are renting the place out basically pay the property owner's bill.
Right.
That's not right. So that's another thing. Because think about it. If I'm just the tenant and I'm renting out this space for my business, and the mayor come telling me, oh, the owner of this place is behind in taxes, you're gonna have to pay this. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna say F this. I'm gonna pack up and I'm gonna take my business somewhere else because I'm not about to pay somebody else's debt.
That'd be the smart thing
So
to
number one, it's a deterrent to bringing businesses into Harvey. And for the businesses that are there, you're forcing them to either pay money that they shouldn't have to pay, or they're going to have to get out and go somewhere else, which is still going to cost money. Okay?
do. Mm-hmm.
So we talked about them raising taxes. Safety. Okay? We done had all of these murders. We don't have a lot of police patrol. Then we don't have a K9. I'm not a K9 unit. What do we call it? I'm sorry. Dog pound. Right now, we had a woman in Harvey that was brutally almost killed by a dog or a couple. I don't know how. I don't want to see. One thing about me, I like to
It
stay
was
back.
two. It was
So
two.
was it two
It was
dogs?
two
Like
rock,
so? Yeah,
two
I don't want to say it was
Rottweilers.
one or two dogs, and then people be saying you
No,
said it was
no,
two dogs
One
and it
was
was
on the
only one.
live. Yeah,
So
no. It
yeah,
was
I like
one
to be
resident.
specific. But a woman was brutally mauled by how many dogs, guys?
it was
Two.
Two.
two
By two
Rottweilers.
dogs. A woman was brutally mauled. So we don't have no dog pound, and you're just allowing these stray dogs, some of which are vicious, some of which may have rabies and be rabid dogs. You got them running around, and it's not safe. People have children. Children are walking to their bus stops, trying to go to school, etc. It's not safe. That's another issue. I got to get the hell up out of here because it ain't safe. I can't even walk to the bus stop because this dog's chasing me.
Mm-hmm.
Also, didn't they close down a building that had homeless people or people like a hotel or was a apartment building that they boarded up? Am I correct?
That was on Halsted. Yep, I
Yeah,
know. Yeah, yep. That
yeah.
was
Where
another
they,
issue.
yeah, they
That they boarded
where
up the people in there?
they had boarded those people up in that apartment building.
So
Mm-hmm.
these are some of Minion. These are some of the tactics, the techniques, the different ways in which they push people and displace people out of their communities. Another way is privatization. Okay, getting private ownership of natural resources. Okay, think about it. You look at see what we have to understand is that we have to learn to look at racism as more than something about race.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dr. Claude Anderson, who was a black economist, I love listening to his lectures. And one of the things he talks about is that the racism that we have been taught, which is hatred of somebody because of the color of their skin, is not the racism that I'm going to talk about from an economic standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? See, black people don't own enough stuff to even compete
To be racist.
economically
Right.
and to be racist. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Think about let's look at Harvey. Let's continue with Harvey. Almost every gas station in Harvey is owned by what race of people? Let me hear y'all say it.
Them
Indian.
Them
The
East
Arabs,
queer,
Indians,
Arabs, Indians, whatever you
Arab.
want to say. Okay, then. Thank you.
Pakistani,
And
whatever.
what do they
I mean,
come here?
that's out here too.
Hold up. And what do they come here and get ownership of to start their lives?
any business that they want.
The
Uh-uh.
business,
Listen to what I'm saying. We're
gas
talking about in
station,
terms of natural
stores,
resources. Who just
Oh,
said it? Somebody
gas.
said it. Gas
Yeah.
station.
gas station,
Why? Because
stores.
it's a lucrative business. It's a natural
Uh,
resource. Everybody needs gas.
will need it for the
But
rest of their
Professor, can
life.
I ask you a question, Professor?
Yes.
He's speaking today.
What's the purpose in trying to change the community out to Hispanics because they're getting deported? So what's the point? Why try to change the neighbor from
Let me
why
ask
try
you a
to change the
question. Let me
town
ask you a question. Do you really
from
do well? Let me ask you a question. Um, that's a very good question. Like I said, that was what this older person said, slipped up and
uh-huh.
said. But I would give you some of the
But you know,
stereotypes. Hold on, let me just say
Brandon
this, Minion.
Johnson. Okay.
I would give you some of the stereotypes that are out there about Hispanics, whether they're good or bad. Here's one of them. Hispanics they know how to come together and work together. So Hispanics to go and live in a house and put 10, 20 people in one house and split the bills and then and stack their paper and then spread out and start
True.
businesses and everything. True.
You're absolutely correct.
They're looking at the fact that there are more black people on Section 8, which they're hold up and let me say this. This is a fact. Section 8 was first created for white people, just such as Lincoln's linked to. And they don't and there are a lot of white people on SNAP benefits that's just not reported. So
Mhm.
let me tell you, I'm very objective. But
Yes.
I'm telling you about the stereotypes that they're putting out. So I want to make myself clear. All these black people on Section 8, they ain't working. They sitting on link. They ain't got. Some of them ain't never had a job. They ain't doing nothing. They need to get up off their ass. They need to work. So we need to get them up out of here and get people in the community that will work and that will get out. And right now, even in Harvey, you see a whole bunch of Hispanic families. They're the ones that are buying up the homes and rehabbing them. It's not us.
Mhm.
I'm all for gentrification when we gentrify our own communities. But what is happening is we're being pushed out and they're allowing the white and other investors to come in and take it up because we are not gentrifying our communities. You look at some of these abandoned houses on one block, and let's say you got 10 families on there. If we all just each family put up $100, we can go and buy one of those foreclosed homes and rehab it ourselves and do something with it as a
Mhm.
community, as a neighborhood. But we not coming together and doing that. So we got to take some blame for some of what we're going through ourselves too.
You're absolutely right on that. I
Now,
can't.
back to the whole Frank Zuccarelli thing. Because he's the township supervisor and he knows when the money is going to be dispersed and coming to him. Okay, that's why he was able to put that plan in action. And so what happened was those four aldermen, those four aforementioned aldermen that I named, they missed a total of 18 meetings in which you have to vote on the levies and so forth so that the money could come into the city and do the things that need to be fixed. Well, without a quorum, which means you have to have it's six aldermen, so you have to have
Right.
4 out of 6 to have a quorum so that you can vote on things. If 4 people are missing, that means it only leaves 2 people and the mayor and the clerk, in which the clerk don't even matter in that. You understand what I'm saying? So they couldn't
Correct.
vote on the monies so that it could come into the city. Chris Clark is a part of that conspiracy. And he's continuing with the plan now by shutting down, and this is where I'm bringing things full circle. He's continuing with the plan of the incapacitation of the city of Harvey by shutting down the cities, by shutting down the other clubs and the businesses. Okay, forcing them out by forcing
Yep.
businesses who are not the business owners or the property owners to pay the property taxes of the business owners. Okay, being a deterrent,
Yep.
letting the who is it? Hold on, you all. Somebody just knocked at my door. Hold up.
You good over there?
Yeah, I'm about to see.
Michael Clark.
What's up?
All y'all quiet and nosy trying to see what's going
Oh,
on.
Right.
no,
Trying to
that's
hit
my
it.
lady. She just came in. She's supposed to be at work. I wonder something that happened.
Oh,
Okay.
sicky, sicky, now get
We was
Um.
trying to
baby.
make sure one Clark coming to the door.
I know. Everybody's sitting here waiting patiently.
Right.
It's all good
Move,
though.
What
cat.
no apology say? She said no. One problem in Harvey is there are a lot of abandoned houses that have fines that needs to be paid. I tried to get one, and it was not willing, and I was not willing to pay those back fines to the city.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, where did I leave off at? Because I want to finish this point. Um,
You was talking about
decorum. I
Frank
said
Decker.
decorum, and they
Yeah,
wasn't able to get
decorum.
those monies to
And
come
him
into the
pulling.
city. So he's continuing the incapacitation of the city by all of the things that he is doing that we see going on right now. And one of those things that he is doing is what Carlita Poole is going through. Is another form of of pushing black people or displacing them out of their communities. It's called utilizing metropolitan forms of government. And this
Mhm.
is when a consortium is created, and the consortium is MWRD, right? They make an agreement with the mayor or the city council, right? And they supposed to come in and basically do what they're doing, like creating a retention pond. What they do in a lot of these instances is that they tell these people that, hey, we have these flooding issues and so forth, and this is going to be utilized for this, and then they end up pushing people out, taking their properties, and more often than not, if you go and read the statistics, whatever the project is that was supposed to come to fruition, it
Never
never
come.
comes to fruition.
Mhm.
It is a strategy that they use to, and and what's messed up is that it's legal. It is a strategy that they use to take people's properties from them.
Yeah. Uh,
And
Wow.
the only
Professor?
reason it becomes legal is because he has the board, so they vote on it. So now it's legal.
Right, because it's four against
Because
two.
see, the thing is, um, like Cook County, MWRD, any entity outside that we pay taxes to, they just can't come into a municipality and do what they want. It has to be voted on. And once it's voted on, then it that clears them of any wrongdoing. And he knows this.
Professor, I have a question.
That's why he does what he does. And then he puts it off on the council. It's not me, it's
mm-hmm.
them. They
They
they voted
voted.
for it.
Right. Right.
It's
So it
always a
can't depend
passing
on
of the
them.
buck. When it's
Yep.
time to take accountability, it's always a passing of the buck.
Lizzie, you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question for Professor. When I just want to double back around to the murder, the high murders rate in Harvey, and I don't know if you've heard of the 2021. I want to say it was when D Thing. I think he is into. I think he's the brother of Little Dirk. And that I think he's still a cold case as well. There was some articles that said that the mayor of Harvey had something to do with that. Are you familiar?
I do remember hearing about that when there was like a shooting over there at by the club or something.
Yes, and
Yes,
that he
yes.
shut it down because
See, here's the thing, and like I said, I like to deal with facts. So when I'm gonna state something that I don't know is factual, I will say this is what I heard. So this is what I'm gonna say right now. This is what I heard. I heard that there was that something about somebody's fireworks went off, and they had somebody set off some fireworks to make it sound like somebody was shooting so that it could kick off the whole incident. And they said that allegedly, because I don't want nobody saying I'm, lying on it, I'm defaming them. But they said allegedly Clark had something to do with the people who lit the fireworks to incite the whole drama.
Mm.
Allegedly, Clark had something to do with the But I people cannot who confirm that lit to the be true and fireworks to factual. incite.
Melissa is in the chat. Melissa's on the chat.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Melissa.
Glennis, what did you have? Anything out of all the stuff that we were talking about that you wanted to add to all the information that we've been going over and the gentrification agenda, if you agree?
No, not really gentrification. I am, my run-in against Clark, I guess, really is when I was put out of the meeting. So that's already been touched on. But yeah, it does seem like there's a master plan in place, though, to run the people out and take over. It does. I mean, if you were looking at it at a 30,000-foot level, it looks like that is the plan. But when you're living, at street level, all you're trying to do is just survive. I was one of the people whose property taxes went up by almost $8,000. It went up $7,300. So it went from like 1,200. Um, yeah, it went up 1,200 to from 1,200 to almost 9,000. And
Like
um,
paying
and
another
so
10%
I
rent.
can just see where you know there is the edging out of people
And it's intentional and it's a
to make
shame.
room for others to come in and, as he said, buy at the buy homes on for the
Pennies
pennies on
on
the
the
dollar.
dollar, right?
So, but yeah, so that was my I think Carlita had mentioned. You know, I was booted out and given a $500 fine, which I don't intend to pay. So
Who is this speaking? Is this Miss Glennis?
Yeah.
Okay, was that Miss
Yeah.
Glennis? I'm sorry. Okay,
She has
um,
a delay because she's listening through her TV.
okay. I'm
yes, that
so
was me.
okay. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that, Miss Glennis. I really am. um, and that's why I wanted to come on, Minion, and speak about, because I think that an awareness needed to be put out so that people can recognize how he's actually doing it, because I don't think a lot of people articulate how gentrification is taking place in Harvey. You understand what I'm saying? And now when we articulate it and put it into, sentences and statements of what's going on, now you can see and make the connections like, oh, this is going on. Oh, they are doing okay. Now I see how it's happening.
I
Okay.
think I might use your audio for a video. So
Um, Additionally, I wanted to let you all know, Miss Glennis, you are correct when you say it was a master plan. This is a plan that has been in the works for probably over 10 years. And you know why? Because even I used to teach at Thornton Township High School in Harvey. I'm an educator. And let me tell you, when I was teaching Global Issues in Society, which was a senior social studies class that dealt with uh, world events, current world events, all right? Um, One of the things that Thornton started doing is, when you were a senior, if you took Global Issues in Society or Civics, because you have to take both of those classes as seniors, they would have you come down and talk about civic government with the mayor and the city council, or just the mayor. What better way to learn about government than to have a conversation with the mayor of Harvey? And what I noticed when I brought my students down there, in which I have a video of it as well, it's okay, nobody say I'm lying. I have receipts.
right.
But when I brought my students down there, um, I saw the game. It was really about trying to surreptitiously urge students to go ahead and, you're going to be 18. You're either 18 or you're going to be turning 18. So you need to go ahead and get registered to vote
Mm, mm.
and vote for me.
Right. Right. Campaign.
That part.
You
I know
campaign.
that's
Okay.
right. I know that's right, Professor. So
Okay. So they covered their tracks on all levels. They took over the education system. They got government and city council working for them. They got the higher ups helping to push the agenda. I like they covered their tracks on this. They really planned this out, and that's why it seems like it's hard to beat them.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Well, Professor, let me ask you this.
Yes.
Are the residents trying to get a ground game
I do want to
so
say one thing though. Mayor Clark had made this grand statement that he wasn't going to. Oh,
No, go ahead, Glennis, because we know you have a delay.
statement that he wasn't going to.
can you turn your TV
I'm
down?
sorry. I so there's such a delay that I'm not sure.
Can you turn your TV
Yeah.
down?
I'm sorry. There's such a delay that I'm not sure. Yeah.
Go ahead,
Such a
Glennis.
delay that I'm not sure.
You have the floor.
So I was saying he made a grandiose statement about um him not raising the taxes. You know, he's not going to raise the property taxes, but yet he raised the water tax. I think the electricity or gas tax. I can't remember. So while he's not, not having the city exceed the whatever the maximum was, at 5% that they can do without having to do what the resolution or whatever it is they have to do, but yet he's raising, the water bill tax, and he's raising the gas tax or the electricity tax. I can't remember which one or both it might be. But I'm just saying little things like that are just squeezing it to the residents
Mhm.
bit by bit. And it's just, I can just see where it's going to be untenable for a lot of people down the road. I don't know if you all can see my avatar, but I made that logo after I was booted out, because still to this day, our First Amendment rights are breached every time we cross the threshold into the city council chambers. So it says denied at the city of Harvey government.gov my right to free speech. And yeah, so I wanted to pick up on that just because I just wanted to touch on that just a little bit, because we don't have a say. We can't speak out against any of these things that are happening, whether it be the taxes or the tax increases. You know, we can do public comment, but um,
Not at the
there's
council.
no back and forth, no give and take. There's no question and answer. Even at the finance committee meetings, they don't give you any real information. So it's just a lot of obscurity and lack of transparency. And it's just like, just sit down and be quiet and we'll just handle everything, and you do what we tell you to do. But they got it backwards. We're the one that voted them in. They working for us. So I think hopefully come 2027 we'll have a reset on that.
Yeah, and that's a great segue because that's my question. Professor said that he was going to the school to register the high schoolers that was getting ready to turn 18 to vote. So is there a great ground game that you guys are getting ready to form, so when it is time to vote, you can try to get the voters out to get him out of office along with some of the council members, because I'm sure some of their seats are coming up also.
I think it's an open question. Anybody can answer.
I didn't really hear her.
I didn't really hear you.
I was I was just
So
at
I mean, I think there are plans in the works, as far as, kind of uh, uh, putting out feelers, like who would even be interested in running, and then vetting. I mean, just who would be a viable candidate to be able to run it successfully, unseat the, first, third, fourth, no, first, third, fifth, and sixth wards. Um, so that I think that's probably what's happening at this point. And again, we know that Colby Chapman is running for mayor. So I think those are the conversations that are being had at this point. But to my knowledge, nothing has been um,
Laid
definitive,
out, right?
made definitive yet.
okay. And
So
Succeeding
for her
has a
running for
question.
mayor, does she have to have, with her running for mayor, does she have to have tickets like they did in Dalton, or she just they run separately from her?
Yeah.
I think that's a personal choice. I mean, some people choose to run and have their team already chosen, and some don't. Um, but I think what I will say is this: that there are definitely talks um, happening about prospects to run for certain positions. Um, Keep in mind that timing is everything, and a lot of people, and we're also trying to be strategic about certain things. You understand what I'm
Hmm.
saying?
Hmm.
Um, so
The time hasn't come yet for
the
that.
time, yeah, yeah. I think the people that are thinking about stuff, it's not time to announce right now. From the conversations that I've heard, people that are interested, and they're trying to be strategic about it because once again, you got to understand that there are a lot of people that are snakes and play both sides. So people are feeling people out and things of that nature. One of the things that I have been preaching for the longest, and I tell people this: you cannot trust anyone that is a part or associated with the Z team. Anybody that was groomed or brought in by Frank Zuccarelli, introduced to him, and got into politics, you cannot trust them because they work behind the scenes together. Let me give you a perfect example of that. Let's take the 2019 election. Chuck Givens, who was another member of the Z team, almost said something else. Um, he created the grasshopper movement. And the people that were on the grasshopper movement was supposed to be like this separate movement, right? Of these new politicians coming up in Harvey and want to fight for what's right, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Well, come to find out, Chuck Givens is associated with Frank Zuccarelli and the Z Team. And so the grasshopper movement was nothing but a Z Team movement disguised under the name of another movement. Just
Mm.
so people would think, oh, there's something different and vote for them.
That's how these people get the people though. I feel like they
Like you got to wake up, like you, and that's why I say you got to start paying attention and seeing what is going on. And for people who don't get involved, it's easy to fall for the gimmicks. It's easy to fall for the games and the political plays. Just like the political play of what happened in Thornton Township with Trustee Gonzalez and Carlisle missing those meetings.
right,
That was nothing but the same thing that those four aldermen did in Harvey.
Yep.
right.
A political play from Frank Zuccarelli's political playbook.
Playbook. I see somebody asking about Kobe. So Kobe, I'm gonna tell you this. Kobe is pretty much being targeted because number one, not only is it because she fight for the people and she speak out and she asks questions, but she never conformed to Frank Zuccarelli. In 2019, when she ran, they used her. They, to put her on his ticket, and they used her to go out because they know that she from these streets. She know a lot of the young people, so she would have brought in the young vote. She
But she wasn't
you
playing by the.
know, she knew how to get out here and talk to people. She wasn't afraid of getting out on the streets like how some of them are afraid to get out on these streets and talk to the people. So once she didn't conform to what Frank Zuccarelli wanted her to do, they asked her after they got, the people that they figured was gonna vote for Clark. Then they put and replaced her with Marshawn Tolbert. Now Marshawn Tolbert has been involved in politics since he was like 15, 16 years old because he's the nephew of our state representative, Will Davis, which is good friends with Chris Clark because they went to school together from grade school on up.
So another groomed individual.
Exactly.
And not
Nepotism.
to
He's trying
mention,
to
and let
do
me put this
nepotism,
out there
huh?
too, not to mention that Marshawn was the one that went and got Kobe and brought her to Clark.
Mm, mm, mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, true. So,
And that's one
so,
thing I love
so,
about Kobe.
go ahead.
That's that's one thing I love about Kobe Chapman. That she doesn't care. She's gonna stand for what's right, and then she's gonna do right by her people. And I really love that. And you can just see by the way she moves that she's very genuine in the way that she cares and what she's actually standing for.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
yeah. She
Totally agree.
and the thing about Kobe is not a person who always wants to take control like how Clark wants to take control all the time. She would rather
Mhm.
show you how to do something or teach you how to do something so that you can be self-sufficient and you don't have to count on or depend on me. But see, he wants you to depend on him and also be afraid, which that's part of the problem here in Harvey is so many people are afraid to stand up and speak out because he'll target you. He'll, write tickets. He'll tow your
$600
vehicles.
water
Your
bills.
water bill, go up. I'm like now with Daddy Joe got a $600 water bill, but I've had
Mhm.
water bills every time I get up to that podium and I talk and say something. Boom, I got a $300 water bill. So those are
Wow.
the type of things that he does to control people, and people are afraid. That's why a lot of people, they don't, I mean, they'll go, he'll literally send the people to like the tow truck to your house and tow your vehicle out your driveway.
That's
That's the
crazy.
Wow.
type of stuff he does.
For what?
you know huh
For anything,
Yeah, I
Lizzie,
mean,
For,
for
and
anything.
he'll
anything?
say anything. He'll use anything like it's abandoned or whatever. How is it abandoned and it's sitting in your driveway? You know, he do stuff
How?
like
Oh
that.
wow.
Um,
I've never heard
he
that before. That's the
oh
first time.
I can show y'all my receipts. He did me like that before. So trust me, I know
Oh
it
wow. No,
happened.
I'm just saying for a mayor to do that to their residents, he's like he's ruling in fear. Like he wants you guys to go into a bubble
Mhm.
of fear so that you guys won't speak up by fining you, by towing your vehicles, by giving businesses these outrageous penalties for not paying their taxes. This is insane.
Yeah, like
And say it's called
he'll
fear
have you
mongering.
in court.
Mongering.
You'll get
Fear
$2,500 in
mongering, yes.
violations. He do stuff like that.
Hmm.
And it'll
It's
be violations like your grass, you got weeds in your grass or different stuff like that. But you go by his house, and that's how I beat my case. I went by his house or the house he's supposed to live in, and I took pictures and I said, look at his garage. Look at his car that sits back there and you can see that it
Abandoned.
hasn't been plated since 2017. Look at the
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
weeds in his fence. You
Why haven't
have
they
to,
towed his car?
think you gotta be able to play his game with him. And
Mhm.
a lot of people scared because they figure he weaponizes the police. He'll have the police come to
Hmm.
you. I mean, I got video, I got pictures of the police walking all in my yard, trying to, mess with my kids, all type of stuff.
And this
Arresting
is
people that pull out of my
weird.
driveway. I done had Cook County Sheriff sit on my block, for days. They got a camera facing my house, watching my house. I got all this stuff, you know.
That is
He
concerning. That is
and
very
and this is the
concerning.
type of stuff. And
That
I
is,
asked him at a meeting. I said, I see that the cameras. That said, I mean, I'm the only house on the block, so why you got a camera facing my house? I said, are
Wow.
that's a
you are
safety issue.
you obsessed or are you harassing me? It's one of the two.
No, that's a safety
oh
issue. For
So
your
Exactly.
safety. That's a safety issue.
You
succeed
know,
if you do
you think that stuff like
So
this is only
it's
happening in like movies and stuff when you read
right.
about it, but no, we're actually living this in Harvey.
Like I said, he
Mhm.
reminds me of like a mayor of Gotham City or something. Like
We told
just
him about who wants to be
super
Nino Brown.
corrupt.
That video, we got to
Evil.
send it to him.
Evil.
oh,
And then you
Succeed
got
and
to look
too.
at
They're
I had a
also,
terrible.
question.
is am I
and
correct that he has a camera on his house, the supposedly house he live on, and he
yeah,
has
yeah.
some.
There's a shot spotter right there.
And he got the eyes to the
Yeah,
sky.
yeah. He got all that by the house he's supposed to live at. But also remember, two girls, two little girls. One was died on when she was 12 years on her 12th birthday, right behind there where he lived at on Paulina, and then the little girl Willow that just got shot. But what good is that eye in the sky or the shot spotter doing everybody else? It's not, you got squad cars, police sitting all in front of your house or supposed to be house, and it's not helping none of these babies that's being shot. It's
No,
Right.
it's not,
We're trying to figure out how.
we in Russia.
you know, and, and it's crazy because um we done had so many kids being shot.
I'm
We've
a
had
mute your mic.
women bodies being found, and he said that that's the reason why he was closing the clubs because of murders. But these people weren't even being murdered in these clubs. you
I heard
know
about that. That some of those clubs were just closed, but they had no fights. There was no liquor violations with the liquor laws. They were just simply closed.
I mean, he literally created an ordinance to where after
Hmm.
12 o'clock no liquor could be served. That's what he said at
Hmm.
first. Then he changed it, and he started violating them and saying that if you're open after 12, you will get a violation. So he end up rescinding well, not rescinding, but amending it and saying that you can't be open after 12. So what club closes at
Right.
12 o'clock?
That's when the party's getting
Correct.
started.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
when most clubs are really just opening.
Yes.
But he's doing it to get the clubs out, the
And they
Yes.
can't
It's
make
businesses
any
out.
money.
criminal.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
So I think
And,
And like Professor said, he's trying to get rid of everybody and everything so he can sell the city. That's why he's not paying on the taxes to the state because eventually either the state gonna come in and take the city, or the city just gonna go bankrupt to a point that everybody's gonna leave because there's nothing there for the people to stay in or have anything. And then he could do what he want to do and make that deal with whoever he's trying to make the deal with to sell the city to them and be done with it. And he going about his business, but he don't care what the people suffer from losing their homes.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to go.
And
I
that's
want to go
the
back on Professor. Oh, go ahead.
Grant.
I want to go back on Professor as well. Some of the things that in our local government, this isn't just Harvey as well, but especially for Harvey for this conversation, that if we really pay attention to some of the things that we might consider, as me being young, conspiracy theories are really things that are just in our face. We just have to pay attention to see that it's really just, it's there. That is not, something that we're just thinking. It can be seen that this is what they're trying to do with the city. They have other plans that does not have anything beneficial for the residents, and that they're trying to sell the city.
and the truth of
Well,
the
me,
matter
I'm
is
looking at it this. I feel like this. Chicago, the crime rate is going up in Chicago back again, and they're trying to move everybody out to that are Caucasian out into the suburbs, and the suburbs is Southland. So if they get rid of the blacks in the suburbs, then they can bring in the whites, and they can take over again and bring this state some money.
Yeah, and bring in revenue.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
bring in revenue for the state. And so now we're not bringing in the revenue that they want to bring in the Southland.
Mm-hmm.
So we get rid of all of us and move us out wherever we may go, Indiana, wherever anybody have to go to try to survive, and bring the other ones in so they could go ahead and bring the revenue back into the state the way they want it in the Southland. And they're going by city by city. Thank God Dalton stood up for what they had to hold on to their village. But still, right now, the way Clark is going, he's going to make sure that Harvey is not going to be able to stand up for themselves because you got the. I mean, by the way, first of all, I want to ask Professor or any of you all, when is the election for the aldermans coming up? And is it 2026?
2027.
2027.
2027.
2027. Okay, so you got a little time because I was thinking it was 2026. I was like, well, you need to start now, but it's 2027, so you still got a little time. So I can see what you said with they keeping it hush hush, who running and who's trying to run and get their ducats in the order. So I get that. So, but in the meantime, you all have to deal with what's going on with him and his little tyrants, his little goonies that's sitting up there kissing his
Flunkies.
butt. Yeah, his flunkies kissing his butt where they could tell you what he had for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
all up in there. They brown noses so much up his butt they could tell you all his meals, what he didn't do, what he did do. So it's sad that they're doing that to their own people and their own residents and their own constituents. It's just heartening to think about them doing that and being so heartless. It's like, where is humanity in this anymore?
Well, one
What
thing that
happened to
They
our
don't care.
humanity?
Let me tell you something. One thing that Frank Zuccarelli taught them, and listen, I have gone to meetings and have witnessed this. Tell the residents what they want to hear and get your money.
yep.
I believe that. I
Tell the
believe what you're
residents
saying.
what they want to hear and get your money.
Now he bringing
They're
God
they're
into it.
not they're not they are not true public servants. They're in it for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
They'll
you're
stay
right.
and
That's
do
all.
whatever it
Yeah.
takes.
We can
And
see that.
note this: Zuccarelli was in that position for township for like 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, he ran
Yeah.
unopposed. That man sat in that position, and not only did he sit in that position, he was the Democratic committeeman. He was of Cook County. He also sat as the vice president of RTA, which is Metro Pace CTA. He sat on that, and he
Mhm.
also was the president of South Suburban College
And now I
School.
want to comment on something about that. As the vice president of of RTA, this goes back to gentrification, and then let me explain that. What's going on right now that you all know of with the with CTA or the red line and so forth? They have
They
already
talk about
they
going up on the prices.
they're going up on the prices, number
Mhm.
one, but they also going to shut down some of the lines of the L.
Wow.
They're shutting down some of the L's. I
Yeah.
think, to be honest with you, I know the blue line is going to still be there. The red line, of course, is going to be there because they're also doing a red line expansion. But yeah, I think like the orange line is going away. The brown, yeah, they're taking away some of the lines. So now you're making it harder for me to even get to work.
So you can't even can't even
So
get
I
back
can't even get to
work.
work so I can continue to live in the home that I have.
Yeah.
They're stripping
Yeah.
away people of
And
their generational wealth. A lot of the people, like the
Mm-hmm.
pools, that home, those two homes that that her parents
yeah.
worked their butts off for to acquire two properties was generational wealth. Because look, their daughter Carlita was able to get one of the homes.
Exactly.
Okay, so and that's something that she could have left to her son or daughter. But
Mm-hmm.
now they
I
are
think
having to be stripped away from their generational wealth. Yes, this stuff is intentional
yep.
and it's being systematically done.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Wow.
I think too, Princess Zelda Phantom in the comments made a comment saying that Clark is trying to bankrupt the city so the government can bail him out. I believe that is true as well because there's another city in New Orleans, Louisiana. It was years ago, in which the city went bankrupt and they needed the government to bail them out, and it's something similar to what Clark is doing.
No, he's not back. See what it is. If he bankrupts them out, the state take over. So that's
That's what
and the
she's
state
saying.
Right.
and what happens is they come in and they do it the way they want to, and they can move people out and do whatever they want to do to. Because if you remember, if anybody remember back when Cassandra was running for mayor in Dalton, remember she said that she made one of the statements, I'm gonna turn over the city to the state. So she already knew ahead of
Hmm.
time what she was trying to do because she already knew that was the plan in Southland. So that's why she made the statement. And I said, "Oh, okay. Now I see what you're trying to do." Because it was, because at that time Dalton was bankrupt. Remember, they was really in a
Yeah.
financial bind. So, so the first thing she said was, "The first thing I'm going to do is turn it over to the state if I become mayor." And I was like, "Oh, okay. So you've been talking to somebody out in the street and heard the plan, and you want now to do the same with Dalton." But luckily, they voted, made sure she didn't even get in at all. So that was a blessing right there.
I,
And so now they're doing the same thing with Harvey. And if they do it with Harvey, then I just want to let the other ones in Southland, warning, warning, you're next.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say as well. I believe that another reason why I feel like this could be a fact with Harvey, because as we know that there is a lot of corrupt state representatives in Harvey. So I don't know if this is a ploy between him and a higher state representative to take over the city.
It could be. I mean, we don't know. Like Professor said, he's the puppet, or he's just a pawn.
There's definitely without a shadow of a doubt higher ups that are aiding him in what he's doing.
Yeah,
um I want to name them as there are a few that I could just say like I know
higher
for
state
a fact,
officials.
but I'm gonna be nice tonight. I'm really I'm proud of myself. I've been very nice tonight. uh
Thank you, Professor. But we're glad that you enlighten us on a lot of things because we need to get this awareness out to everybody because, it really needs to be said and it need to be done where everybody can hear this and see the plans. And when it's time to vote, come to go out there and put the boots on the ground and go door to door and try to get him unseated where we can get somebody in there that's not going to play, you know, pay to play.
right, right, right.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And I think Kobe right now would be the person that she's not going to pay to play. And and it's going to make help the city to turn around. Otherwise, it's going to go to the state if by 2027 we don't do something or try to, get serene on or keep protesting or whatever you have to do within that city, to stop a lot of this from happening.
Yeah, and it's so much
Yeah.
corruption going on. There's so much corruption, mismanagement of funds, commingling of finances, and other things that are backdooring, lobbying, etc. That is going on. It's so much of it. For example, let's look at Thornton Township. Um, that's why they don't want to do a forensic audit. I've called it out more than once because if they did a forensic audit, and I say go back just 10 years,
Hmm.
to be honest, you really want to learn to get some information. Go back all the way to the beginning of Frank Zuccarelli's tenure.
Hmm.
Go back 35 plus
30
years
plus
to when he
years
first
ago.
started and come forward, and you're gonna uncover so much corruption.
Hmm.
Okay, but we were
And
saying
it's
y'all should just
crazy.
do 10 years. But see, you will find out within just those 10 years, a lot of your state reps, your state senators, a lot of mayors,
Mhm.
a lot of city councils were part of the corruption.
But
That's
that's
why they
why
don't want to do it.
I
The
wholeheartedly
whole
think
city.
Tiffany would have gotten away with her corruption if she wasn't so her mouth wasn't so
Vocal.
reckless.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If you are going to be doing something like we know that Zuccarelli and them
At
were
least be nice to
engaging
the
in
people that you
corrupt
right.
activities. Okay, but they were not loud and boisterous about it. They did not do it in an ostentatious way.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
They were
Right,
quiet.
right, and that's what I was
Right.
saying. Tiffany was loud and loud and all out there where everybody. That's why I said what he
She
was doing
fumbled
in
her own
Harvey.
bag.
What they did in Harvey
Yeah.
was undercover because everybody was looking at Tiffany. What's she gonna do next? What's she gonna say next? How's she gonna act next?
Also,
What else she gonna do?
yeah.
So she was
And I'm
Tiffany,
gonna tell
But
you
also,
honestly,
worldwide.
if he
Tiffany made
was,
herself worldwide though. When she was so loud and
he
proud, she
did.
made herself worldwide. People know her everywhere at this
here's
point.
the thing too, and I'm saying
Providing.
allegedly because I don't want to defame or lie on anyone, but allegedly a rumor that was I heard was that Clark is the one that was advising her. Now,
Yes, he was. He was
now,
because you can look at
Yes.
what she was doing
now.
in Dalton. Is it similar to what he's doing now? Is what he's still doing in
No, he
Harvey.
do it
You
on
could
the
say,
Now look,
way.
if he was advising her,
Mhm.
a good way of taking the limelight off of him is advising
after.
her and letting her do all of the big boisterous things that she did, and
Mm,
it drew attention to her
mm,
while he kept on
mm-hmm.
being in the
He kept
background
going.
doing what he was doing.
Being
Right,
her
and that's what I
cheerleader,
said.
And see, that's the thing you
telling
got
her
to
she doing
understand is
right.
that, and that's why I tell people when you get into politics, you have to sit back and pay attention because politics is chess.
Exactly.
Oh,
Mhm.
baby, it is
Yeah.
chess. And it is hardcore chess because people are being strategic about how they're moving. Remember how I was giving you the two examples, the example about the two movements, the grasshopper movement, and then you got the Z
Mm-hmm.
team, and they all part of the same thing. You got to be able
Yeah.
to spot the games and the tricks that they're playing on you. And um, and it's not easy at first,
Yeah.
but you got
And
to
you can
pay
also see
attention.
too that we have you can also see too that we have a popular chaos agent helping Clark right now as well. This is his version of Tiffany Hinyard, the new chaos agent added to Harvey to kind of keep the limelight off of him because this person is such a provocateur that it's able to keep some of the the negative light off of him. And we see that now with the new chaos agent in
Mm-hmm.
town.
Mm-hmm. It's all
And
strategic.
That we will not give light on this team. We will not give light on this channel.
It,
And
but
Glennis
but
says
I see what you're saying.
Glennis is saying that they haven't had a treasury report in 6 years. Make that make sense.
And remember, they said that they wouldn't. He would not. They would not give him.
Oh,
But
it's so
but
much I
remember,
want to
he
say
said
about that, but I can't say it.
Well, I'm
Oh,
gonna say it.
Jesus.
It's
Say
it, it's just to me when she
but
first started, when our treasurer first was elected in 2019,
it. Mm-hmm.
um, you know, she I think she did give like a couple of treasurers reports. What they was like them little phony fake ones, and then all of a sudden they start barring her out of the executive sessions and things like that.
mm-hmm.
And
Well,
I
no,
mean,
Chappelle. Remember, her very first treasurer report.
She
The
started
very
getting too much
first meeting after
information.
getting no, her very first treasury report was on point. She told the
Right.
truth. She
She gave
went
too much
back. She put it
information.
all out there,
Uh-huh.
and that's when Clark got nervous. Like, I got to do something with her
She
because
gonna
she
be a
gonna mess up
problem.
everything because she talking too much.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
and
yeah, that's to her
why
very
he
first
said
one.
in the interview with. So that's why
With
he said in that
Ryan.
interview with no, with not we're not saying the name, giving it light person that he said I don't have no control over the treasurer. He said the treasurer was elected, but I don't have no control over it. And I'm like, how are you the mayor of a city and you don't have no, you don't know what's going on in the treasury of the money that you're dealing with? So that right there showed me that you're a big liar because there's nobody, not even in the church, they ain't gonna know what's in the banking account through the treasurer. So that lets me know something is not right.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
We
so
were at a
sorry,
council
y'all.
meeting where the treasurer, Aisha Pickett, uh, where Clark barred her from a meeting. They went into executive session in which she was supposed to go back there, and he would not allow her to go. And the Honorable Keith Price said to her, told her, he said, what he is doing is illegal. You were elected. You're supposed to be back there. He said, go back there. He cannot legally stop you. And if he arrests you, I will bail you out and pay for the lawyer to defend you in court.
Did she go
Oh,
back
that's
in?
what Keith Price told her.
Yes, he did. But at
Okay,
that
All right,
same
Yep.
Keith.
time,
all right,
hey,
Keith
hold up,
Price.
that same day though, she was late to the meeting because she had gotten bitten by a pit bull. And so after
Wow.
being in the hospital and being away from her babies and all of that traumatic experience, she just wanted to go home to her kids.
Oh man.
Okay.
And we know another corrupt mayor with a problem with animal control, Tiffany Henyard.
Right.
Yeah, but
That's
luckily
what I
she.
said. I said she was groomed by him because after the
Yeah.
limelight went down from her, and I started seeing the things that was going on in Harvey, I said, "Oh, this is where she's getting all those ideas where she was giving out the tickets for $500. Remember, they
Doesn't it
stopped her
some
from doing that. Then she was trying to, yeah, oh, she was giving out tickets, and they stopped her for that. Then she was trying to shut up the people in the board meetings too, and that didn't work because the people stood up for themselves and fought against her so hard that she couldn't control
Mhm.
that. And then she was trying, stick the police on them and harass them and, going to people's yards and doing the same thing with the tickets. That didn't work. So a lot of things that going on in Harvey was she was trying to do in Dalton, but the board there and the residents fought back so hard on her that she couldn't do it. And plus, she didn't have no. Once they got rid of um, Delgado, she really didn't have no power. Once they got rid of Delgado as her personal lawyer,
Delgado was her superpower.
right? And once they got
Yeah.
once Bert got rid of Delgado,
Bert
one of
was
the
the
cases was
kryptonite.
against him. And got him, yeah, and
Hmm.
he got rid of him. Then that's when she became, she couldn't do anything. And that's when she started losing all them cases and started losing all them cases. And then what the board had their own private lawyer, it was the two lawyers against each other. And one was
Hmm.
a little more powerful than the other.
Yeah, so now we got to figure out what Clark's kryptonite is.
Professor, do you know what the Clark's kryptonite is?
Oh,
I'm gonna
he
be
don't
honest
like to
with
be
you.
showed out to where the facts are being given.
Hmm.
He can't take it. When
Facts
you
is
giving
his
out facts,
kryptonite.
yep,
Yeah. Oh,
he
you should
can't
have
take
told
the
us that.
facts.
He doesn't like to be and and you could probably
Challenge.
say this is entwined with what they said. He doesn't like to be challenged either, which is hence the reason why he wants to run the meetings the way that he does, because he doesn't like to be challenged. And so if he would really allow us to use our freedom of speech the way that we should be able to use it at meetings, he would get the city council and everyone would be called out so much that, put it like this, anytime that he doesn't have the power and the control, it's a problem.
Hmm.
It's giving third world country. Like you guys live in North Korea almost, where you have no rights, and
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can't even put it into words. It's just so sad, and I hate to see you guys have to deal with that. You guys don't even have like your First Amendment rights. You can't have your free speech, and to petition your government like you would like to, because it's almost
Well,
like
here's
you're
the
ran by a dictator.
It is.
Yep,
and here,
He is.
A dystopian dictatorship.
a
Cause,
Yes.
narcissistic dictator.
cause the
Lion
damn
ass
city.
dictator.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a
I hate to see it.
narcissist.
Like, we're in America. You guys are living like you guys are in a third world
Well,
country, and it's very sad.
it
You're
definitely is.
absolutely right, Lizzie. It's like a third world country, and it's sad that they are going through that so badly. I thought Dalton was bad, but now that I'm seeing Harvey, it's like, woo, it's absolutely terrible.
Well,
My
I
heart
want to
hurts
know
for
who the hell he think
Harvey.
he
Like,
is, though, and why do
Somebody
he
told
feel
him he
like
was
yeah.
somebody.
right? And how do he feel like he gonna be able to get away with this, and the people are not gonna
How do you live with
say
yourself?
anything? How do you and right? How you live with yourself treating people this way? This is just ridiculous. Totally ridiculous.
But it's been
And then you want to
six
get up there
years.
in the board. Look, you want to get up there in the board. The last meeting he was in, going to talk scriptures and pray and all this stuff. I'm like, leave God out of that, because he like, I don't want to be in your mess.
Well,
Hold
I
up
just
now, but the Bible tells you that the wicked one is the ruler on earth.
see.
That's
Yeah,
true. The
that's
devil
You
true.
got
preaches
to
a mean word.
understand that most of these leaders and mayors and all this stuff they talk about God, they are the biggest devils ever. And remember, the devil knows God's work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right.
he
So
know the
you you
Yes,
scriptures
he
you
too.
got to
does.
be careful because that's all that's all he ever did when he ran. When he was bringing his mama in back in 2019 when he was campaigning. Mama, what do I always say? God, God, God.
Hey, I mean,
And
Ooh,
you
I
ain't
hate
doing
that
nothing
voice.
godly.
look, he
Hmm.
make you not
And
look.
I
He make
honestly, I can't. Spiritual
But you know,
manipulators are
guys and
almost
gals,
worse.
letters have been written to Kwame Raoul, to other higher ups. This is something that I felt the governor should have been got involved in. No,
Mm-hmm.
they're all,
Part
believe it or
of it.
not, they're all part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Preckwinkle, all of them, and letters have been written. Nothing has been done.
Well,
But
one
now,
thing that we're gonna start doing is, I mean, let me just say this. When I started my YouTube channel, I just really wanted to kind of say what I felt about Tiffany Henyard. It wasn't like to be an activist or anything. I didn't even think anybody was gonna even watch my channels. But um, now that we're here, and I think that obviously the YouTubers, the content creators made an impact. I feel like on the Tiffany Henyard situation, and and it helped shed a lot of light. I think that that's what we're just gonna have to do. Excuse me, for Harvey, Illinois. And I think in this instant, I'm going to be more open to doing the actual research. I mean, I do research anyway. I only operate on facts, but I think in Harvey, it's a little bit more complicated because you have a board that's with the man.
hmm
You have other people who are actively going around promoting this man as a good person on their platform. So it's going to take a little bit more work, but I think that what we're going to do is make sure that we're releasing factual information. We want to, we truly appreciate you guys coming on
wait, hold
and
on,
giving us.
Million. Succeeding wants you to answer her question. I started, but she said about
Okay.
the regular letters with the she said if they report regularly with letters to the AG once a law has been broken.
Is that the question?
Yeah. Do you see the favorites where I start them? Where I pinned the comments? Do you see where the comments are pinned?
Let me go to
Look at the
pin.
pinned comments because I pinned the question.
Oh, there we go.
Okay.
My question is, are they doing like the residents, like Mr. excuse me, like Mr. Lee's spearheaded and writing letters to AG each time that their rights are
We're
violated?
starting. We're starting to do that. Um, but not on a regular. But we are gonna get started with doing that. So
Okay, because I mean, being talking about it is one thing, but you have to organize, and we have to, at the end of the day, Tiffany was reeled in by by the litigation, and doing the proper, going through the proper channels. So I guess, you know, I'm sure y'all have been writing letters, but just I
hmm
guess have to do it to a point where they're annoyed and they're like, okay, we just have to address
That
this.
would be Ryan.
You have to do
Ryan,
something about
well,
it.
Ryan has written a lot of things. So he does do FOIA requests for different things, and none of them get answered. I've done FOIA requests. Other people have done them. Nothing has been answered. We have written to, even with our situation over here on Myrtle, written to the lieutenant governor, the governor, everybody you can think of. The only person that responded was Robin Kelly when we met with her chief of staff. But I can't knock her because she did do something. That was it.
So maybe what we can do, I mean, maybe people know how to FOIA? Do people know how to write letters to the higher ups and to try to get something done? Because they may not also know how to do it.
Well, yeah, if you're helping and stuff like that, most
Yeah, maybe
definitely.
we
Let
can
me know.
figure out a way where we can maybe get a template created and put it in maybe the Harvey, and then with the instructions on how to do it, just to kind of help them along with the process.
Well, she said, she mean, do they send
Letters.
letters? Yeah, regularly, weekly. Cause she
Yeah,
said
that's what I'm saying.
She said that's how Dalton got relief.
Yeah, so if we maybe
And
come up
also
with a
they called
template or
too.
something.
They also flooded the phone lines too. I mean,
Yeah.
they told their residents to flood the phone lines to a point that they're not getting any other calls but from them, and and
Hmm.
start
Mhm.
getting annoyed with it. So I think if Harvey do the same thing, flood their phone lines to a point that it's like, oh my God, here they calling again. To a point that somebody eventually going to go ahead and respond, because right
Mm-hmm.
now
Yeah.
the few little letters ain't doing enough. So if you flood the phone lines, anybody can call. We can call. Anybody can call to make a stink about it. And you
Hmm.
flood them phone lines, they're going to eventually have to respond.
So that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
I mean, and if we need to make phone calls, we'll make the phone calls too. So Foxy is going to probably give us some more information. She's going to give us some more information on how we can be of service and the residents and what the residents could possibly do to make give more awareness to the higher ups and let them know that this is a situation that needs to be dealt with. Do
Mhm.
you guys have any final words for this live that you guys want the people in here to take away from this conversation?
Stay tuned. It's gonna be more to come, and you'll be seeing it on Minion Opinion. That's pretty
Absolutely.
much as good as it gets.
I like that. I
Yes,
like that.
OTR is on it.
Mhm.
And thank
OTR
you
is
so very
on it.
much, for hearing our story. Because the thing is, I'm not gonna, with my dad being, well, with us being uprooted, not just my dad, because it's me and my sister and our kids too, and my daddy being uprooted, I'm gonna stay on that neck. So I want to see a retention pond. I don't care about nothing about you ain't got no money for no park. You should have thought about that. That retention pond gonna get built,
Hmm.
or there's gonna
Are,
be
are we
consequences.
thinking are we thinking that this retention pond is going to get built, or like where do we think this is actually going?
She's
I
saying
don't
she
think it's
gonna
gonna
make.
come. I
It's
don't think it's
coming.
coming. I don't think so.
I just have I'm less than about 5% confident that there's going to be a retention pond.
Real low.
I just don't see it. Like,
Less than
these
five
are some
percent.
nice homes. They're very historic.
Yeah, cause
They're very
we're at my
historic. I
dad's.
mean,
So
you guys have some beautiful
this
homes.
is my daddy's house. That's the mantelpiece.
That's
But
and look,
they don't even make
beautiful house
homes
full of
like that anymore.
memories. But look at all the memories
Very.
just
Yeah,
on the
let me,
mantle though.
Kayla, do it so you can see the front part.
Hmm.
Oh.
So I mean, having to take all those years worth
Things
of.
down.
I'll
Memory.
also put in the AG phone number in the chat for everyone. So if
Okay.
everybody want to call them and flood their phone numbers, there you go.
We're gonna get a template,
And
a
I'll say,
letter. We're gonna get a letter created, a template letter, and we're gonna put the instructions with the template letter so that you guys can go ahead and start. And is this an email letter or a physical letter?
And also,
Right.
too, succeeding says that it's not the calls, but the letters did it. Trust me, I saw them and I can show million proof. Reporting the correct way is the only way that would stop him from violating the rights. So it looked like succeeding need to email us on OTR.
She does email me, and yes, I'm gonna be looking out for those emails. Succeeding. She probably about to email me now if she haven't already.
Okay.
All right, so thank you, Succeeding, for helping us with releasing the facts.
She
All
asked
right.
that Chappelle.
And
Yeah,
thank you
long way.
guys for the
Yeah,
residents, for Chappelle, for Carlita, for Mr. Poole, for Glennis, Pastor. I'm sorry,
Professor.
Pastor, Professor, Professor. Thank you guys, because it does take a look. I think it takes a lot of courage to actually come on and in today's time actually speak your truth. So we definitely appreciate it, and we need to hear from you guys' perspective. Um, so definitely thank you guys for taking the time out today, and it won't be the last. I hope that we hear from you guys, um,
Mhm.
and we will continue reporting.
All right, Eve. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, y'all have a great night. Thank y'all for coming on. I said what I said. Do you have any final words?
Well, I just want to assure the public that we are going to stay on their necks and we're not going to let up on this. And hopefully, we can help make this story as big as Tiffany Henyard's story was. So, not just the local Chicago area, but hopefully, other YouTubers will start reporting on this. So, we're going to try to make it as big as we can, try to shine it in the spotlight as much as we can, and just hope the residents, can all come together and do what they need to do, because we can bring the story out, but the residents, it's your town, so you got to take it back. And so, and
Say
whatever
less.
that takes to take it back, then I just wholeheartedly hope that they can get their town to get their town and take it back, but also contact Dalton, because Dalton had the same problem.
Yeah.
So you have some people in Dalton that probably can give you a roadmap on how to get this done. If and I'm not saying that you guys don't know, but we saw the results of what they did, so we know they have a path to success. And so that's basically what I want to say. And thank you everybody for coming on the panel. Thank you for all of your stories, and thank you for all the great information that you provided us.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Bye.
my closing is, first I want to again extend a happy belated birthday to our queen of Harvey. Yeah, yeah.
Chappelle. Thank you.
And thank you for coming on. Thank you for all the residents that came on and gave us their, their point of view and what's going on for them as far as their lives and in the city of Harvey.
Let me
Also, we
turn
want
this
to
off so
thank
good
our,
job.
our our special co-host, Miss Lizzie, for being on here and asking the questions and doing the thing and joining us tonight. Okay, give her, yes,
Say bye. And this
and
is
her
my
My
dad.
brother, and her
He's
brother being
say
in the
bye.
Oh, let's
background
see
as our
that.
producer.
Yeah, have a good night, you guys.
All
All
right.
right,
Hey,
Good
good
thank
night,
night.
you.
Dad. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you
your
good
for coming on.
night.
story.
Thank you
All
for
right,
coming
you're
on
welcome.
tonight.
All right. And you were
Oh, and don't
saying,
forget our producer in the background.
Right.
okay,
Yeah, we got some new team members, guys.
the best producer on YouTube.
Yes.
All right. And no shade to the other producers that are also very good. We acknowledge y'all too, but we gotta let our producer shine.
I know, I know, I know.
All right. And again, guys, thank y'all so much for just staying here this long. If you are still here, before you leave, can you do us a huge favor? Hit the like button. If you know someone who may need to see this information, don't hesitate to share this video. And also, most importantly, subscribe to the channel because we are going to be releasing more information in the in these next few episodes. So you definitely want to stay tuned, hit the notifications bell. Hopefully we'll see Lizzie more often. And I really do want to thank her
Yes.
for coming on and joining the team tonight. Uh,
Yes.
and again, Professor, with all of the incredible, invaluable knowledge that he just imparted on us tonight, I think just with his knowledge alone, that we should get at least one like out of you guys. So thank you guys so much for staying here tonight. But we're going to go ahead and end the show. And we look forward to seeing you guys on the next episode. Y'all have a great night.
Bring the fire, Minion got the facts. I said what I said, yeah, no taking it back. It's truth with a twist and we had a little mess, but don't get it twisted, we still say it best. This ain't your mama's news, it's off the record. Unfiltered, unbothered, undeniably